In the today's session, we are going to discuss about few important terms like schemas and instances. In fact, we had a little discussion about that in the last session, and then focusing upon data models. So let us have a recap about what we discussed in the last session about schemas and instances. So what we mean by schemas?
It is nothing but structure of database.
Yes. What are
It is the overall design of a database.
Overall design of database.
It is all design of a data. So database design at the physical level is known as physical schema. Database design at the logical level is known as logical schema. And the different views of the database at the view level are referred to as subschemas. So I have mentioned earlier how we design at physical level and how we design at logical level. So typically, we are more concerned about the logical describing the data at the logical level. We are describing it in the form of a record along with the data types of the various elements, those we would like to store under that particular record. So this is what the logical schema is, and we are much bothered right now about the logical schema. But underlying the logical schema, we are having the physical schema, as I mentioned in the last session. So what we mean by that, whenever we are describing any data type or whenever we are describing or at the physical level, we need to describe how actually we are going to store that data, what kind of file organization we are making use of, what kind of searching techniques we may be using. So all that kind of a description we need to provide at the physical level. So underlying logical schema, we are having the physical schema, and whatever data we have stored using the logical schema, that data is being accessed by various number of views. Those are provided to different kinds of users. So by making use of these kinds of views, it is possible to provide only the appropriate information from the database to the intended users. It is not necessary to have access to all the information or provide access to all the information to all the users. So depending on whatever is the need of that user or whatever is the role of that user, we may provide different views, and views are being written basically by the application programmers, right? So
Yes,
so
ma'am.
instances the actual content of the database at a particular point in time. So we may have different instances at different timestamps, right? So if I have inputted data in my database, say at this moment, then, and if, let us assume that if I am having a snapshot of that database, then that is one instance of my database. If later on I input some more data in my database or remove some data from my database, then once again the state of the database is changed. So whatever are the contents of the database at that particular instance of time, that is another instance of my database. So this is how we describe the concept of instance. Now, two important concepts now we are going to deal with: the physical data independence and the logical data independence. So we had a brief discussion about physical data independence in the last session. So let us once again focus upon this physical data independence concept. It is the ability to modify the physical schema without changing the logical schema. So what we mean by that? Physical data independence. So what are the reasons why we need to change the physical schema? So many times what happens is due to the degraded performance of our database, we may think of modifying our physical schema. For example, sometimes we may think of changing the file organization mechanism or storage structures or using different storage devices, or maybe modification of the type of index that we have used earlier or the hashing algorithm that we used. So these are the possible ways of changing the physical schema. But if we are changing the physical schema, it should not actually affect the logical schema, because in logical schema we have defined already our design of the database, right? So even though sometimes I'm changing my physical schema, it should not affect my logical schema. And this ability to modify the physical schema without changing the logical schema is known as physical data independence. To the logical data independence. So as I mentioned, this is the ability to modify the conceptual schema without making it necessary to rewrite the application program. So it is the ability to modify the conceptual schema without making it necessary to rewrite application programs. So what we mean by that? See, at the logical level, we are having logical schema. And what is there in logical schema? I am having structures of my records. So if at the logical schema I am having some provision, some structure to store the data related to instructor. Now, what is the data that I am storing with respect to the instructor? ID of the instructor, name of the instructor, salary of the instructor, and department name of the instructor. Now let us assume that I would like to modify the structure of my record, because I want to store now the email ID of the instructor in my database. Correct? So in that situation, what I'll do? I'll go for modifying my logical schema. Is that correct? But prior to this, whenever I had my original logical schema, I have written some application programs. What kind of application programs are those? The application program that is written to say list out all the instructors, right, from a particular department. So I'm having that application program ready, and that application program was built on this logical schema. So to have output of that application program, I had made use of the instructor record earlier. Correct? And now I'm modifying that instructor. But even though now I'm having such modification in my instructor schema, instructor logical schema, it should not affect my earlier application programs. Those I have written. Right? So whatever application programs, those were written earlier to the modification, those should run as it is. There should not be any problem in running those application programs because of modification in logical schema, right? So there is independence. Even though I am modifying my logical schema, it will not make any undue, or it will not affect my application program. It will not affect the view. that was written earlier. May I proceed now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next concept that we are going to deal with today is the data models. So, what we mean by data models? So, underlying the structure of a database, there is a data model. So, data model is a collection of conceptual tools for describing the data, for describing the data relationships, the data semantics, and the data constraints. I'll repeat. Data models are the collections of conceptual tools for describing data, data relationships, data semantics, and data constraints. So a model basically provides a way to describe the design of the database at all three levels: physical level, logical level, and view level. I'll repeat. A data model actually provides a way to describe our database at all three levels: physical, logical, and view level. So there are different kinds of data models available to describe the design of a database. So I'm going to list out few of these data models and I'll be briefing you about these models, right? So the very first data model is known as the entity relationship model or ER model, and it is mainly used for the conceptual database design. We are going to focus upon this model at depth in our part 2 of this unit 1, and right now also I'm going to briefly introduce what we mean by entity relation model after listing all the data models that we have. So the very first model, which is mainly used for conceptual database design, is the entity relationship model or ER model, and actually it is a model that is describing my database design graphically or in a pictorial form. So we are going to discuss this model in a while. The next model is the relational model. So what we mean by relational model actually is the relational model typically uses different kinds of tables to store the information. Meaning, if I want to store the data related to instructor, I am making use of a table to store the data related to instructor. So, I am having the columns and also I am having the rows in the table. So, columns are nothing but different elements of my instructor record, right? So in relational model, I'll be forming one table for instructor, wherein I'm having the columns related to all different elements: ID, name, salary, department name. So these four are the columns in my instructor table, and I'm having rows. So one row will describe one instructor, right? So this is how in relational model we are storing the data in tabular form, right? So this is another model. So in our course we are going to focus upon these two models: entity relationship model and the relational model. Okay? Next model is the object-based data model. So what we mean by object-based data model? Nowadays, the object-oriented programming languages or the object-oriented programming has gained popularity, right? And this is becoming a dominant software development methodology. So these concepts of object-oriented programming actually led to the development of these object-based data models. And this is how we are having, under this category, we are having the first model, that is object-oriented data model. And this object-oriented data model is influenced by object-oriented programming languages. So, in brief, if we extend entity relationship model with the notions of encapsulation, methods or functions, object identities, those are the dominant terminologies in the object-oriented programming languages. Then we come up with the object-oriented data model. So, in object-oriented data model, we are having integration of ER model and the object-oriented programming concepts. So, ER model with the notions of objects, the encapsulation, the functions and so on. So, this will form my object-oriented data model. And under this category, we are having one more model, that is object relational data model. So object relational data model is actually the combination of the relational model and the object oriented concepts, right? So object oriented data model is the combination of ER model along with object oriented concepts, whereas object relational data model is the combination of relational model and the object oriented concepts, right? But in this course we are not going to deal with object based data models, right? In the advanced database engineering you will be focusing upon these kinds of models. This is our preliminary course of database engineering, and that is why we are going to discuss first two models. Those are the entity relationship model and relational model in this course. Okay. Now, the next data model that we may have is the semi-structured data model. Semi-structured data model. So what we mean by these models? These models actually permit the specification of data where individual data items of the same kind may have different sets of attributes. So what we mean by that? Say for example, just I mentioned in the relational model, we are going to store our instructor by making use of a table, and that is a fixed structure. So every instructor will be described by 4 attributes or 4 elements. And what are those? ID, name, department name and salary. So for every instructor, I'll be having these 4 attributes in relational model. Correct? Are you getting me? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, in relational model, we are having some fixed structure, right, to store the records of a same type. So, instructor type is there. So, all the instructors will be described by making use of these 4 attributes. But what happens in semi-structured data models? It is not mandatory for me to have such kind of a fixed structure to store same kind of data. So if I want to store instructor in semi-structured data model, then not necessarily I am having this fixed form to store the records, right? So I may have a flexibility with respect to the number of attributes those I am using to store the instructor record. Say for example, to store one instructor, I may use all 4 attributes, or to store another instructor, I may use only 2 attributes or something like that. So, once again, I'll repeat, the semi-structured data model actually allows the specification of data where individual data items of the same type may have different set of attributes. Correct? So, typically, you might have heard about the extensible markup language, XML, extensible markup language, right? So, the extensible markup language or XML is using the semi-structured data model, right, to store the data. Am I clear? May I proceed with the next? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. So let us proceed with few older models. I have listed here 2 older models, historical models, network data model and hierarchical data model. But these 2 models are not being used nowadays, and that is why we are not going to discuss anything about these models. But these models were tightly or having the close bonding between its underlying hardware and the mechanism how that model works. So those are very much dependent upon the underlying hardware. And nowadays these kinds of models are not being used. Okay, so we are not going to discuss, but this is only for your information that prior to ER model and relational model, there were few older models, and those were the network data model and hierarchical data model. That's all. So I hope you must have understood the data models. So the very first model, entity relationship model. So it is a way to design our database system in some pictorial representation of our database by making use of entity relationship model. In relational data model, what we have? We are storing the data in the tabular form, right? And for a same type of data, I am having some kind of a fixed structure to store that data. In object-based models, we are having 2 kinds of models, object-oriented data model and object-relational data model. So what is object-oriented data model? It is a combination of ER model along with the object-oriented concepts. So ER model is integrated with the concepts like encapsulation, functions, object identities and so on. And this will form object-oriented data model. What is object-relational data model? It is combination of relational data model along with the object-oriented concepts, right? Next, semi-structured data model, typically XML, is a semi-structured data model. So, what is semi-structured? In semi-structured, it is not mandatory that every data of same kind should be described in some fixed form. So there is a flexibility of using the attributes to define the same kind of a data. So that is what semi-structured data models. And few older models were there earlier, and these were the network data model and hierarchical data model. So these were dependent on the underlying hardware, right? And nowadays we are not going to make use of such kinds of older models. So in this course, we are going to discuss about entity relationship model and the relational model. In advanced database engineering, you will be focusing upon object-based data models. Okay, so I hope you must have understood what are the different data models. May I proceed? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So now let us go through the entity relationship model in brief, because we have dedicated entire part 2 of this unit to discuss and draw the entity relationship models for the real world problems. Okay, but let us have a brief introduction right now to the ER model. So in ER model, this E stands for entities and R stands for relationships. E stands for entities and R stands for relationships. So what we mean by entities? These are typically the objects or the things. So if I am having two things or two objects that can be distinguished from one another, then I'll say that it is entity. Right? Say for example, what are the entities? I may say that instructor is the entity, course is the entity, student is the entity. So what we mean by that? Entity is a thing or an object in the real world that is distinguishable from other objects. Right? So I may have collection of instructors. I may have set of instructors. So that is entity set. So individual instructor is one entity. Individual course is one entity. Individual student is one entity. So I may have several student entities. I may have several instructor entities. Right? So typically in ER model, if I collectively say that this is instructor, that means it is entity set, wherein I am having various entities of kind instructor. So individual entity is individual instructor. One entity is one instructor. Okay. Now the entities are described by the set of attributes. So each entity is described by set of attributes. So what we mean by that? Say for example, if instructor is the entity, then it is described with 4 attributes. What are those 4 attributes? ID, name, salary, and one more we had department name. Right? So these are the attributes to describe this entity instructor. Similarly, if I want to describe, say, student, what are the possible attributes for students? Anybody? Attributes for students? These are actually the properties of that entity. So student can be described by, yes,
Roll number, URN.
okay, so URN would be one of the attributes, correct? Then roll number would be another attribute, name of the student, one more attribute, email ID, one more attribute, address, one more attribute, phone number, one more attribute. So this is how we are actually describing the entity student. Right? So all those URN, roll number, name, email ID, all those are the attributes of entity student. Okay? I hope you must have understood the concept of entities. And now let us see what is relationship. So typically the relationships are between the entities. So we need to relate two entities. For example, suppose I want to relate the instructor with his or her department, or I want to relate the student with the course, or I want to relate instructor with the course. Then if I want to relate two or more entities, then I am having the relationships between those entities. Okay, so relationships are actually associating two entities, two or more entities. So if I want to say that this particular instructor belongs to CSE department, right? Then the instructor and department may be another entity. So instructor and department will be associated by that relation. Okay, say for example, if I am having say 20 instructors in my department, then it is entity set instructor, because it is having 20 different instructors. So one instructor is entity and set of instructors is entity set. Similarly, we are having relationship sets. Say for example, if I am having the relationship between instructor and department, then one instructor is related with some department. So instructor X is related with department Y, right? Then I am having say instructor X2 who is related with say department Y2. So if I go on collecting all such relationships, then it forms the set of relationships, and that is as a relationship set. Okay, so I hope you have understood the concepts entity set model. What are the components and how I am going to show it in graphical model? So I'll be using rectangles to denote entity sets. I'll be using ellipses to denote attributes. I'll be using diamonds to denote relationships. I'll be using lines to link the attributes with the entity sets, or to have the connection between the relationship and the entity set. So let me give you one example. Whether my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is a simple example that we have. So how we are going to draw the ER diagrams or entity relationship diagrams. So see here what we have. We are having this rectangle where I have mentioned instructor. So this actually denotes the entity set instructor. Correct? So rectangle is meant for entity set. Okay? Now, I am having few of the attributes identified for this instructor. And what are those attributes? Those are identified, say for example, ID, name and salary. So these are the attributes, and these attributes are related with this instructor. Right? So attributes are denoted by making use of the ovals. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
we have depicted this entity instructor, or rather this is entity set instructor, because we are going to store many number of records into this entity set. So the entity set is represented using a rectangle, and the attributes are denoted using the ovals. And to establish the connection in between these relevant attributes and this entity set, we are having these links, lines. Those are connecting to. So this oval salary or this attribute is connected to this entity set instructor. That's all. Similarly, I am having another entity set, that is student. Okay. Now this entity set student is having the attributes ID, name and total credits. So these attributes once again are linked with this student entity set using these small lines. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, diamond is being used to denote the relationship. So we are having relationship between instructor and student. So relationship between student and instructor is depicted by making use of this diamond. And we are having some name also to that relationship. So here we are having the name for the relationship as advisor. So what we mean by that? The instructors are working as advisors for the students. Right? So this is the relationship between student and instructor. The instructor is working as the advisor for the student. So we are having depicted this relationship between two entity sets, instructor and student. Okay. Now, you might have seen here some number 1 is there. Here we have written N. So what is this? This is a kind of relationship. We are going to focus upon all those concepts later. But just to make you understand, I would say that this is a cardinality for the relationship. That means this relationship is one to many. 1 and N means this is one to many relationship from instructor to student. And this means that one instructor may have several students associated under this relationship. So one instructor may be advising more than one student, many students. And that is why it is one to many relationship. But if we look at the same relationship from another perspective, from student to instructor, it is many to one. Correct? So what we mean by that? Every student in this entity set is having exactly one instructor associated. Not more than that. So one instructor may have more than one students, right? But one student is having associated with only one instructor. That is what this relationship indicates. We are going to focus upon this later. But only thing is, this is one simple example to make you understand how actually the entity relationship diagram is drawn by making use of certain notations. So rectangle is meant for entity set, diamond is meant for relationship, and the ovals are meant for attributes. And the lines are actually connecting various components. So attributes are connected to the entity sets. The entity sets are connected with the relationships. So we are making use of these lines. There are several other notations as well. We are going to discuss about ER model in detail afterwards. Right? So if you have any doubts related to ER model right now, please proceed with the questions. Yes, any doubts?